Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria, and today we're going to be talking about some romances where the hero falls first. So before we start the video, I do want to say I'm really sorry if you can hear the fans in the background. We don't have AC, and the earth has not gotten the memo that it's supposed to be fall. It's September. We have a heat wave and it's like 90 degrees outside, so I can't turn the fans off or I will possibly melt. So I'm really sorry if you can hear them in the background. I turned them down, but I can't bring myself to turn them off. So I apologize about that. So I am going to be doing a video, like I said, about heroes who fall first, heroes who are so into their heroines that they are the ones that really initiate or that are incredibly in love with the heroines and they're just waiting around for the girls to get the memo. I love this trope. It's actually one of my best friend's favorite tropes, and we were just talking about it, which is what made me really want to do this video. And so I have a list of a few that I want to recommend that I've loved, that I've read recently, that are all hero falls first romances. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into the video. So the first one that I have is a book that I've talked about quite a bit, but I really can't bring myself to stop talking about it because I'm obsessed with it, and that is Reckless by Elsie Silver. This one is book 4 in the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. I think you could read this out of order. My best friend did, but I would actually recommend reading Flawless before you read this one. I think you just get, because it's about the sister of the heroine from Flawless, and you really like get the other side's perspective when you read Flawless first and then you read Winter's book. I think that you get more in depth about Winter's actual like childhood, but you get it from Summer's point of view, and then in Reckless you get it from Winter's point of view. Either way, would highly recommend this book. It's amazing. It is probably going to be on my top 10 of the year. I absolutely love it, and this one is definitely a heroes falls first romance. This is actually a surprise pregnancy romance as well. So the heroine Winter is struggling. She got out of a really bad marriage and she is trying to reconnect with her sister. They've had a rough childhood. Their parents really like kept them apart, really pitted them against each other, and really they have grown up not being very close at all. And in this book you really get Winter's perspective. You see why she is the way that she is, and I absolutely adore that. But she ends up getting invited by Summer to a party at Summer's house, and that is where she meets Theo, and Theo Silva is Summer's husband. Rhett's like prodigy. Rhett used to be a bull rider and now trains, and Theo is like his new star that he's training. And so Theo and Winter meet, and they end up having a one-night stand. Winter ends up getting pregnant, and she contacts Theo to tell him that she's pregnant, and there's some issues with the communication with that, and so Theo comes back a couple of years later and finds out that he has a daughter and that he missed it, and they end up reconnecting, and Theo goes 100% all in, not just on his daughter but also on Winter. He is 100% committed, devoted, willing to go to bat for her. Like I said, a lot of people think that Winter is very rude. They think that she's kind of bitchy, and Theo is the #1 person to come to her defense. He absolutely allows his feelings to overcome him first before Winter. Winter definitely likes him. She's attracted to him. Obviously she had a child with him, but she has really closed herself off. She has a lot of walls up, and so Theo really has to work to get those walls down in order for her to like admit that she has feelings for him. But Theo 100% all in, committed, falls first, is so full force into this relationship, and he worships Winter and his daughter, and I absolutely love it. It is so sweet, so cute. Theo is an amazing hero. He really lifts Winter up. He allows her to be who she needs to be, but also pushes her in the correct direction. And he really just like helps her. He gives her nudges. He's like, you don't have to have all those walls up anymore. You aren't in this like horrible home situation that ended up in also on a horrible marriage. You have the opportunity now. You have a family now who loves you. You can let yourself be vulnerable. and it's so good. I loved it so much, and I would highly, highly recommend it if you want somebody, want a hero who's like 100% devoted from the beginning to his heroine. The next one that I have is Broken Whispers by Neva Altaj. This is actually a mafia romance, and it is an arranged marriage. So the hero in this one, whose name I cannot remember, he is part of the mafia, and he is like kind of a second in command, or like he's one of the higher ups in the mafia, but he's also he's scarred. He doesn't talk very much. He's very brutal and doesn't really like allow himself to have friendships. He very much like follows what his mafia boss tells him to do, and he is very closed off. And so when the mafia boss says that one of them needs to marry the daughter of somebody they're trying to make an alliance with, the boss automatically assumes that it's not going to be the hero, because they're like, he's not going to marry somebody. But then the hero finds out who he's supposed to be, who's getting married, and he says, I'm in, I'll do it, me. Because he recognizes the name of the heroine, because he already is like obsessed with her. He has kind of followed her, he's seen her around. She is a dancer, and he has gone to her dances and watched her perform, and he already is attracted to her, intrigued by her, kind of as a crush on her. And so he is the first one to be like, I'm gonna marry her, none of you are gonna marry her, I'm gonna marry her. And everyone's shocked, but he marries her, and he brings his heroine back to his house, and they end up developing a relationship. The heroine is a little timid at first because this is an arranged marriage. She's not sure how it's gonna go. She doesn't know, this is a mafia situation, so she's like, is he gonna be cruel? Is he gonna be aggressive? But the hero wants her. He wants her, and he is so glad, he's so happy that he has married her and that nobody else can have her. The hero also doesn't like to be touched, which is why another reason why the mafia doesn't think that he's gonna be the one to marry somebody, but he just can't help it. He needs to have her, and he becomes incredibly possessive of her. And there are some amazing like touch her and die scenes. There are some amazing like, I'm going to kill you if you continue looking at my wife kind of situations. There's some definitely like possessive, jealous, you look at another, you belong to me, don't you look at another guy kind of situations. It's so good. Absolutely love it. Would highly recommend. The next one that I have is Always Only You by Chloe Leese. This is one of my favorite books. I've mentioned it quite a bit on my channel, but this one is a hockey romance, sort of. The hero is a hockey player. He's also a virgin. Fun fact. And the heroine is the social media manager. She works for the team. The heroine also has rheumatoid arthritis. She walks with a cane. She's a badass. I love her. And the hero, Ren, a huge crush on the heroine, Frankie. When Frankie's apartment gets broken into, Ren offers his place for her to stay because he's like, this is my opportunity. He can finally like spend more time with her. And once the two of them spend more time together, they end up falling in love. It's so great. I love this pining hero. He is, from the moment he meets her, from when she joined the team, working with the team, he has been crushing on her, super pining for her. So when her apartment gets broken into, he seizes his opportunity, and he's like, I want to spend more time with her. I want her to spend more time with me. Maybe she'll like me. And it's so cute. It's just a really wholesome, sweet book. While also having RA, she has autism, and she really doesn't want to feel like a burden to anyone. It's very much one of the like core things about her. She wants to show people that like she can handle it. She doesn't want to need help. And I love having Ren come in and be like, you're allowed to show some of your vulnerability. It doesn't make you weak. Like, I think you're a badass, and that doesn't mean that you don't need help sometimes, and I'm totally willing to help you. And it's so cute, and I love it, and it's so good. The next one that I have is On the Shore by Laura Pavlov. This is her most recent book in her Cottonwood Cove series. I absolutely love this series, and this one is about a football player who's the like #1 player in the NFL, and the heroine used to be a sports reporter. She actually got fired. The hero actually gets her fired, and so she hates him for getting her fired. And so when it's the off season and the hero needs to decide if he wants to move to a new team or stay at the team that he's at, he decides to stay at his manager's house in Cottonwood Cove. And when he sees the heroine walking around, he assumes that she followed him and that she's stalking him, and she's like, excuse me bitch, I live here, this is where I'm from. And he finds out that he did get her fired. He didn't realize that she got fired. He feels terrible about it, and so he offers to allow her to write the story about where he's gonna play next year and write kind of like an expose about him. And so they end up having to spend more time together. They end up falling in love, and the hero 100% committed. 100% is, you are going to be with me, we are going to work this out, you are going to love me. And he falls first. He's so into it, and the more time he spends with her, the more he's like, I have to have this woman in my life. She is mine. We're never breaking up. When they do eventually get into a relationship, he is like, it does not matter where we are, where you're going, we are staying together, because he is that committed to their relationship. And I absolutely loved it, and it was so freaking good. The next one I have is another one that I read really recently. I read it at the end of August, and that is Next to You by Hannah Bonham Young. This one is a friends to lovers romance. The heroine is agoraphobic. She has some really struggles because of her father passing away, and she has a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, and so she doesn't want to get super close to anyone because she just assumes that they're going to either leave or die, and that she's going to be heartbroken. And so she doesn't want to get into a relationship. She only really does like flings. And so she has this friend. They have a friendship, but he obviously very much likes her, but he's like kind of settling for friends right now, and allowing her the space to like grow and to hopefully like see him more later. And so they end up in a forced proximity situation when they have to drive to very far to go pick up this bus that the heroine bought because she wants to renovate this bus to live in it. And they get closer and closer. They get much more in depth into their pasts and into their families and why the heroine is the way she is. And it is so cute. It is such a cute story. So, like I said before, for Always Only You, it has a very wholesome vibe to it. It's just, you really like want them to be together. You really are rooting for them. And the heroine is very emotional, very sensitive, and the hero is like the perfect rock for her, and it's so sweet. Next one that I have is Shattered Sea by Catherine Cowles. This is a celebrity romance and also small town. So the heroine in this one works at an art studio in this small town, and the hero is actually an actor who's come to this small town to study horses and to study how to work with horses. Because he needs to know this for his next film. And he sees her working at this art studio, and he is captivated by her, and they end up spending a lot of time together. He is very obviously in love with her, very obviously has a huge crush on her, and she has some trauma. It's also romantic suspense, like most Catherine Cowles books are, and so there is this suspense element where they're having to let each other be vulnerable, but also protect each other from the suspense element that is happening, from the danger that they're in, and they grow even closer, they fall in love, and it's so, so good. The last one that I have is an oldie but a goodie. It's one of my favorite books, and that is Brooklyn Air by Serena Bowen. This is actually the first Serena Bowen book that I read. It is still one of my favorites, and it is a CEO assistant kind of romance. The hero is the CEO of this huge tech company, sort of like Apple, but he also owns a hockey team called the Brooklyn Bruisers. And so the heroine has worked with him for many, many years as he's grown up his tech company. When she first joined, they were in like a little tiny room, just a couple of coders, and she really helped create like a company because the hero is very much like not great socially, and is much more like, I just want to sit with the numbers. And so the heroine has grown the company with him. She's been with him for many years. They've both had crushes on each other at different times, but it's like never really like been the right time. And so the hero actually ends up sending the heroine to work as the manager for his hockey team, or like one of the like main people for his hockey team. She's like the overseer. And so one day she steps onto the ice and she ends up slipping and hitting her head, and the hero immediately goes into caretaker mode. He's like, I need you to be okay. Are you all right? What can I do to help you? And when he finds out that her apartment is very loud and stressful, he offers for her to stay at his place, and he is so like caretaking of her. He's very much wants her to be okay, and he shows how much he likes her in this moment. And so it has this like CEO assistant aspect, but it also has a friends to lovers aspect, because they have been working together for so long. They know each other really well, but he so likes her, and you find out like why he had to send her to work with the Bruisers instead of staying in the his office in Manhattan. And it's so good. I absolutely love this romance, and after all these years, it's still one of my favorites. But that is the last one that I have for this video. I hope that you find one that you enjoy. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe, stick around so you can see more content from me, and let me know down in the comments what your favorite hero falls first romance is. But that's gonna be it, so I hope that you have the absolute best day.